The city didn't panic at first. Cities don't panic easily. They absorb tragedy the way concrete absorbs rain, quietly, without spectacle, until the weight becomes impossible to ignore. The first disappearance was treated like a sad story. The second became a coincidence. By the fifth, the news stopped using the word missing and started using the word pattern. But the pattern wasn't what frightened people most. It was the silence that followed each vanishing. No crime scenes. No broken glass. No abandoned cars. No trails of phone calls ending mid-sentence. No bodies. Just a person who existed yesterday, and didn't exist today. Detective Mara Isles noticed the difference before anyone else admitted it out loud. She had built her career on understanding absence, the empty spaces where evidence should have been, the small missing details that most people overlooked. And what unsettled her most was the simple truth repeating across every case file. There was no moment of violence. No ending. Just interruption. The missing were ordinary people, commuters. Students. Nurses. Office workers. People with routines so predictable they should have protected them. The last sightings were painfully normal. Someone walking down a corridor. Someone stepping into a lift. Someone turning a corner. And then never appearing again. Security cameras showed the before, but never the after. It was as if the city blinked at the exact moment each person stepped out of view. The city changed slowly after that. Not dramatically, not with sirens and curfews, but with habits. People texted when they got home. Friends stopped walking alone at night. Shop lights stayed on longer. Conversations shifted from weather to worry. Everyone started making quiet deals with the darkness. If we behave correctly, maybe it won't choose us. Then the first message arrived. A plain envelope. No return address. Inside was a single typed sentence. I don't take them from the world. I take them from you. It wasn't a threat. It wasn't even a confession. It felt more like a correction, as if the sender disliked being misunderstood. That was the moment Mara stopped thinking of the disappearances as random acts and started thinking of them as communication. She returned to the places where the missing were last seen and stood there at the exact times they vanished. She listened. Traffic. Footsteps. Distant laughter. Nothing unusual. Nothing dramatic. Until she noticed the walls. In an alley behind a shopping arcade, she found a section of brick that had been freshly painted. Too fresh. Too smooth. A patch that blended into the building only if you weren't looking directly at it. When she ran her fingers across it, she felt the ridges beneath the paint, the quiet scar of recent repair. Another disappearance had happened within that block. She began searching for more scars. The city was full of them once she knew what to look for. Fresh mortar. Replaced panels. Small repairs in places nobody paid attention to. Maintenance work people assumed was routine. And that was the moment the investigation changed direction. The killer wasn't taking people away. He was moving them into something. Records led Mara to a contractor whose name appeared again and again across repair invoices. Small jobs. Quick fixes. Emergency patchwork. The kind of work nobody questions because buildings are always breaking somewhere. He wasn't suspicious on paper. That was the terrifying part. He moved through construction sites and maintenance projects like a ghost in a hard hat. Always present. Never memorable. Mara and her partner Dane began tapping walls in old buildings with an acoustic device, listening for the difference between solid and hollow. Buildings, it turned out, had voices. A good wall answered quickly. A hollow space answered with a delay. They found hollows where there shouldn't have been hollows. Then a survivor walked into a police station. 11 days missing. No injuries. No explanation. Only fragments of memory. He remembered being asked for directions. He remembered stepping toward a doorway he didn't recall being there before. And then darkness. Not the absence of light. Something closer. Like the dark itself had weight. He led Mara to the street where he vanished. The doorway was gone. In its place stood a freshly repaired wall, paint too new to belong. When the device touched the surface, it whispered the word Mara feared most, hollow. The realization unfolded slowly, like a map turning itself right side up. The killer wasn't hiding victims in a single location. He was building a network. A hidden system of crawlspaces, sealed doorways, and forgotten corridors stitched into the city's bones. He wasn't just committing crimes. He was redesigning the city. A second message arrived on Mara's private phone. You're looking for rooms. I'm looking for gaps. He was watching the investigation. Listening to it breathe. They finally gained access to an abandoned office building scheduled for renovation. Inside, the walls felt closer than they should. The stairwell echoed wrong. When they pried open a sealed panel, stale air sighed out like a held breath finally released. Behind it was a crawlspace. And inside that crawlspace were names carved into a wooden beam. Some neat. Some shaky. Some unfinished. Proof of presence. Proof of life inside the hidden city beneath the visible one. Deeper inside, they found signs of survival, blankets, water bottles, wrappers, the quiet evidence of people kept in limbo rather than ended. That was the killer's true method. He didn't leave bodies because bodies end stories. Missing people don't. Missing people keep families searching. Keep cities changing. Keep hope alive long enough to hurt forever. At the far end of the crawlspace, they found a sealed hatch. Locked from the other side. By the time they forced it open, the space beyond was empty. Corridors stretched into darkness, splitting in multiple directions like arteries beneath skin. A hidden network moving beneath the city unnoticed. At that exact moment, power flickered across the district. Cameras failed. Streetlights blinked out and returned. The city had blinked again. And the killer had stepped forward, just out of sight. Mara stood before her wall of missing faces later that night and understood the truth in a way that no case file could describe. The killer's greatest trick wasn't avoiding evidence. It was teaching the city to live without it. Somewhere behind the walls, beneath the floors, and inside the gaps people never question, the missing had become a hidden population. And the city had learned to continue as if bodies were the only proof that someone had ever truly been there.